Good morning team Safeguarding. Safeguarding Officer Jeff. Leo nataka kusupport families na zaidi ya yote nataka kusupport the entire families of Mlima Kenya on basis of that their son Gachagua of course was impeached by the lower house ambayo ni the House of Parliaments with almost over 240 MPs choosing to impeach him. It's a sad day ndani ya Mlima Kenya and unaweza kuona our thumbnail hapo. The photo there is for baby top Muthoni wa Kirumba having a very serious discussion with the son of the mountain Rigiji, the current deputy president, who has been impeached by the lower house, the House of Parliament, and the issue is now on the upper house, which is the Senate. Whether hii mambo itakuwa the same kama vile the lower house ilifanya kwa Senate, not yet everybody knows. Lakini the Senate, which is the upper house, and I believe the House of Sense, is very different from the lower house, the parliament. Our parliament, definitely, they need to be educated. All they think about is themselves. Lakini the upper house, the Senate, definitely kuna watu ambaye wanaelewa what exactly happens and what needs to happen. It has 50-something senators, but I think the nominated ones are not allowed to vote kwa sababu nobody has nominated them. They are not from any constituent. They are nominated by parties. So, but those that are elected, or rather by the people, and they represent different counties, definitely are the ones to vote. So I think Gachagua needs only 17 senators to stand with him, and the impeachment will be thrown out. He will not need to go any further, because once he gets 17 or 18 or 19 or whatever number, as long as he doesn't get 16, if he gets 16, he will have been impeached completely, and the issue will now progress to the courts if he needs to do that. Otherwise, he will have to leave the deputy presidency and akuwe raia kama the rest of the Kenyans. But of course, akitaka kwenda kotini, then he can go to court. And tunakumbuka what has happened to Kawira Mwangaza. Kawira Mwangaza was impeached by Senate, but the court intervened and the court continued to keep Kawira Mwangaza in office. So yeah, hata pia the son of the mountain Rigathi iko hivyo. But anyway, so looking at what has happened, there's betrayal in the mountain. The mountain really stood very well with President Ruto. When Ruto needed the mountain most, the mountain was there for President Ruto. Ruto cried a lot during his deputy presidency with the former president, also a son of the mountain, Uhuru Kenyatta. And when they came together, Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto, of course, they said it was 10-10. Uhuru would do 10 and I will support Ruto to do 10. But this did not happen. And that is why the mountain stood with Ruto overwhelmingly. And of course, Ruto then chose Gachagua so that then the backup plan can work. And indeed, he won because the mountain has the power. What you are seeing there in Exodus 19:12 is not a joke. And people may think it's a joke, and people may think I'm trying to kutetea hapa wa Kikuyu, but God has a special place for Mlima Kenya in Kenya. And munaweza katana, munaweza kusema this has got nothing to do with Kenya, this has got nothing to do with the Mlima Kenya, but God has a very special place. Sio kawaida eti ya kwamba Mlima Kenya area has some of the highest population votes, and that is why if you do not have Mlima Kenya, with you, swing votes zinaweza kukusaidia tu. Otherwise, if you have Mlima Kenya on your side like Ruto did, that is why he won. If Ruto did not have 87% of the Mlima Kenya votes that voted for him, easily he would have lost just like that. So, but Exodus 19:12 inaongea kuhusu put limits for the people around the mountain and tell them, be careful that you do not approach the mountain or touch the foot of it. Whosoever touches the mountain is to be put to death. Of course, this was the children of Israel, and it is regarding the mountain of God. This is what it's all about. So a lot of people may come here and argue and say Kenya is not in Israel. Mount Kenya is not Mount Sinai, or these other mountains that God was dealing with in Israel and all that. But I tell you what, it is very symbolic and very the same here. Mlima Kenya is very special to God and produces a lot of relevant things that are seen in the works of God. So mimi ningesema pia wakati sasa President Ruto anaguza mlima, people in the mountain and from the mountain are lamenting. Watu wamekuwa na shida sana ya kwamba umeondoa deputy president that helped you to get to that position. Of course, kuna one of the legends that passed on called Demethiu aliimbia Wakikuyu na akasaidia sana Ruto, akasema kuna ka deni fulani ka mtu ambaye tunafaa kulipa. And what gadhire kawa fulani, what was Demethiu saying? Demethiu was trying to reiterate what Uhuru had promised Ruto. Uhuru had promised Ruto that akimsaidia washinde the first term and the second term, ya kwamba atamsaidia Ruto to the president. But Uhuru on the second term went contrary na akachukuana na Raila na wakafanya handshake. He kept and he kicked Ruto outside. Ruto alibaki kulia every day. He was in the mountain all the time. And the mountain stood behind him. And that is why watu wa Mlima Kenya wanasema they don't betray. And now they are feeling betrayal in the mountain because they themselves do not betray. They went against their own son, Uhuru Muigai wa Kenyatta. They told him that we don't want anything to do with what you are telling us. We cannot vote Raila in. We have to stand with what you told us initially. Ni lazima choose Ruto. Tunakatana na wewe hata kama wewe you are our son and you are the son of the former president, the founder of mzee, wewe ni mtoto wa Jomo Kenyatta, the founder president of Kenya, but tunakatana na wewe. Tutaenda na what you initially told us, 10-10. So, and that is how they supported Ruto. Ruto, of course, then has done what he's done because he has the power to stop this impeachment, but he has chosen not to do that. So, ukiona hapa Muthoni wa Kirumba wakiongea na Gachagua, there's a lot. Muthoni wa Kirumba hapa is standing in for watu wa Mlima Kenya. So, it's not necessarily that there was a meeting that was between Muthoni wa Kirumba and Rigathi Gachagua discussing impeachment. No. Hapa Muthoni anasimamia Mlima Kenya. Watu wa Mlima Kenya tumeona wakilament wakisema kama Ruto amekubali Gachagua atolewe katika hiyo deputy president. They don't even want that deputy president ikuje Kenya. They don't want isikuwe eti kuna mtu anaweza kupatiwa whether kama ni akina Waiguru ama akina Ndindi Nyoro. They don't want it. Wanalament wanasema apatiane kwa Wakalenjini, apatiane kwa Wajaluo. Some have even gone on to say mpaka apatie bibi yake hiyo deputy president ama watoto wake. This is how bad it is. There is betrayal in the mountain. Hawezi kutoa Rigathi Gachagua and then useme utatuletea mtu mwingine. We don't want it. This is what people from the mountain are lamenting about and are saying. So, of course, it is within Ruto's ability to stop this impeachment hata saa hizi. But of course, he's gone mute. He's not said anything. And for mimi kuna kitu moja tu ningependa kuuliza. How easy and quickly do people forget? Ruto amesahau how he was crying when he was being subjected to a lot of pain and agony through the Uhuru Raila regime. He went through quite a lot. He was in church every day. He spent a lot of time attending churches in Mlima Kenya. Aliombewa na Mlima Kenya and the rest of the Kenyans to become the president. But mwanadamu ni mwanadamu. When you get to where you wanted to go, it is very easy for you to forget the pain that you had, because now you are on the side where ulikuwa unafanyiwa problem. I think watu wa Mlima Kenya, they are very disappointed with what has happened, because they are not asking for too much. If I was to be their lawyer for a second, they were saying kama the marriage between Ruto and Gachagua has gone sour and divorce has to come, it is okay, because that such as his life. See all the politics only. Hata in real life marriages, people do divorce, people do separate, people do all sort of things. Hata kama mko na watoto, mko na nini, hata kama mmetoa dawari, hata kama mlikuwa nyinyi ndio millionaire the whole world, people separate, everybody separates, so sio the first time ya kwamba sasa eti marriage between Gachagua and Ruto politically iti ni ya kustua watu. No, it happens all the time, so but what the Mlima Kenya are lamenting about is that angeweza tu kuacha akae hapo kwa hiyo deputy presidency mpaka miaka yake 5 iishe. Miaka yake 5 ikiisha, kama hataki kwenda na the second term, amwambie sasa wewe jipange na mimi nijipange na mtu mwingine. But this idea of fueling or allowing or behind the back kukubali hii mambo ya impeachment iende through, people are seeing that as betrayal, kwa sababu yeye mwenyewe Uhuru Muigai wa Kenyatta did not allow impeachment to be done on him. Uhuru had a lot of grounds za yeye akuwe impeached, but he did not put that through. So why is he doing that? Sasa Mlima wanaona hiyo ni betrayal, ya kwamba our son has been betrayed, and if our son has been betrayed, hata sisi tumekuwa betrayed. My prayer is that the Senate, which is the House of Sense, will come to the rescue of Deputy President Gachagua, and they will throw this impeachment out very quickly and first thing in the morning, because that is what needs to happen. Haijalishi hata kama Gachagua amefanya nini ama nini, let him finish his 5 years. Na to be honest, hata mimi ninakubaliana na wale wanasema kama makanga anaenda, hata dereva aende. So I think both of them need to go, then if they need to go. And once again, I agree with some political analysts that are saying there's no crisis, because Speaker Wetangula can step in for 90 days, and hata kama saa hizi hatuna IEBC is not in place. If Speaker Wetangula was to step in kama speaker wa bunge, because that is the constitution mandate, if there is no president and there's no deputy president, in their absence, the third person ndani ya Kenya ni Speaker of the National Assembly, which is Moses Wetangula. He can step in and he can become the interim president for almost 90 days, and when he is then there, he can choose and he can nominate IEBC chairpersons and all that, and then the parliament can approve them, and from there, IEBC chairman can be sorted, and then from there elections can be conducted. So there's no vacuum, there's no constitutional crisis that can happen. So kama ni kusema dereva aende na makanga waende is not a problem, but hii idea kusema iti Rigathi aende peke yake, no. I think I'm of the view that kama Rigathi anaenda, walikuja on the same ticket, walikuwa on the same chama. So kama Rigathi anaenda, hata boss yake aende, because Rigathi takes direction and orders from his boss. So kama yeye ni mbaya, hata boss yake alikuwa wapi? When Adam and Eve were thrown out of the Garden of Eden, Adam did not eat the fruit from the serpent. Eve did. But then Adam ate from Eve. So, but when God came to throw them out of the garden, God did not throw Eve. God threw them, he threw them both out, regardless of whether it was Eve who took the fruit from the serpent and ate and then gave her husband to eat. So Mungu alirusha wote wawili, Adam and Eve, out of the Garden of Eden, and he put a seraphim there, an angel with a very big sword to guard the garden, that they cannot come back there because they had sinned. So hata hapa, kama deputy president amefanya makosa mingi sana ambaye inastahili kuwa impeached, hata boss yake, where was he when Rigathi was doing all these things? Were we not hearing yeye akikuja kulament kusema nimemwambia Rigathi hivi na hivi na hivi, I think the marriage is not working, anafaa kubadilika. We have not had all this until this impeachment. So kama dereva anakufa, hata makanga akufe, and let the whole thing go. Kama imeenda mbaya ni mbaya. So I think it's wrong to just subject Rigathi to that. And Ruto akuwe yeye, he's the holy Joe. He's the one that is, I mean, the protest for the Gen Z spoke loud, and hii mambo ilishia tu hapa kwa sababu sasa ni kama ilinyamazwa. There was a lot of worry and shake up wakati Gen Z walikuwa wamekuja, because Ruto was really worried that the Gen Z were going to throw him out of the presidency, because they really can't. If those rioters had continued, things were never going to be the same. It's not the first time tumeona presidency ama kings wakitolewa na when movements start. So, but I'm glad that anarchy stopped and all that. But mimi ningesema familia is very important, and I think how these leaders are leading the nations and counties and governments is worrying, because watoto wetu wanawaangalia. And mimi, I stand in for children. Children observe. Children learn from parents. They learn from their leaders. Leaders are supposed to be role models ya watoto. Children are the leaders of tomorrow. How this role modeling is being done is going wrong, and kuna a lot of worries and concerns about what is happening. My worry is that the children of tomorrow, what they are seeing right now is a lot of worrying and concerning things. Now, I don't know. We need to do better as people who are in leadership. We need to do better as people who are in positions of trust, or yes, so that our watoto can learn from the best. Otherwise, role modeling, it is done through observations and following better practices, not just being rogue and all these other things. Anyway, watu wangu, ni hayo tu. I want to thank you guys for 20,000 strong safeguarding family. Tumeweza kuhit that marks. God bless you so much. Our next target will be heading to 30K very soon. So tafadhali, become a team ndani ya safeguarding, and let's continue supporting families. Let's continue supporting children. Tuna support family ya Mlima Kenya. Please say something about what you think is happening ndani ya Mlima Kenya, and God is going to bless you. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video.
Thank you.